Hello, ghosties. You're listening to Not My Ghost,
Not my problem. I'm Kelly.
and I'm Jen.
Whether you're a skeptic, a true believer, or somewhere in between, join us for a journey into the unknown.
Because remember, when it comes to the paranormal, it may not be our problem.
But it's certainly someone's problem.
Hi, Kelly.
Hey,
How are you today?
tired.
Yeah,
Haven't been sleeping well.
I'm sorry. That sucks. I've kind of been in the same boat, so I understand.
My cat has taken to coming into the bedroom and knocking everything off the top of my dresser, including larger things now. The other night, one of my porcelain dolls was launched across the room onto my bed, and it really scared me at first because it's supposed to be haunted. And then I saw the cat up there, and I was like, "Oh, okay."
But was it the cat?
I'm pretty sure it was the cat because he can be quite the asshole.
Well, maybe the cat was trying to protect you from the haunted spirit in the porcelain doll.
So he launched it at me.
Well, maybe he was like knew that it was about to do something bad, so he went to go like stop it, but he couldn't get there in time.
Maybe
Mhm. Cats are smart.
they are. They are pretty smart.
They're not all demon
So
cats.
no, thankfully. Although my aunt did have one, but so we
Eh,
are at our scripted unscripted banter part of the show.
yes, and just like you did last week, I wrote a question for you. My question for you is, what would be your baseball walk-up song?
Oh my goodness gracious! The Bitch is Back by Elton John.
Love it. Love it. Mine would be Who's Afraid of Little Old Me by Taylor Swift.
Oh, that's a great one.
That
That's a
song's
great
cool.
one. I was driving the other day and that song came on and I had my sunroof open because it was beautiful and I just had it all the way up and I was singing and everybody was looking at me like I was an idiot, but I made them smile. And if I can make someone smile in a day, my job is done.
That's all that matters. I mean, I have been singing Taylor Swift nonstop since she released The Tortured Poets because it's just been on repeat.
So I'm in a Taylor Swift and Hosier um, phase right now.
Nice.
Noah Khan as well. Noah Khan sneaks in there a lot.
Good phase to be in. I'm just
Yeah.
solely Taylor Swift right now. Though when I'm out by the pool, I do put on like some like summer country because that's just like the vibe I want when I'm sitting by the pool. But yeah, no, if I'm at home, it's Tay Tay.
I remember Ed Sheeran used to be our pool music.
Oh, yes. Yes. We
Every
have,
time I hear Ed Sheeran, I just think of being in that pool with our bottle of wine on the side.
oh, so much wine. So much wine. Well, guess
So much
what?
wine. What?
A week from today, you are going
What's
to be
happening?
here.
I am. I'm so excited.
Me too. And a week from the day we're recording, not a week from the day this is released.
Yes. Yes, I'm very excited. I've already got the overthinker, obsessive part of my personality that wants to, what do I need? What do I need to pack? What do I need to bring? So,
Yeah.
once I hit that phase, I get excited because I know it's coming up real quick.
I know I'm so excited. I have to clean my apartment. So there's that. I did vacuum yesterday because my other bestie, Kristen, came down to visit me because I'm going through some stuff right now. And she had the day off and was like, I'm going to come down and spend the day with you. And she has her service dog, Iris, who I love to death, but Iris sheds a lot. So anytime
Yes.
she comes to visit, I have to vacuum my whole apartment, but it's totally worth it. And I got to hang out at the pool yesterday and have some good time. So
Kristen, if you're listening, and I know that you are,
she
thank
is.
you for taking care of Jen.
She's listening. I made her.
All right. So, what are we talking about today, Jen?
Today, we are diving into the eerie and mysterious world of paranormal games. These are the rituals and activities whispered about at sleepovers, the ones that dare you to peek beyond the veil of the ordinary into the realm of the unknown. From spine chilling legends to curious customs, we'll explore the origins, the lore, and the experiences of those brave enough to play.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds spooky and exciting and scary, and
Yes, all of
I
the
like
above.
I like this kind of stuff.
I know. So I know we've talked offline, Kelly, just about how this might end up being a series that we do because there's so many paranormal games and there's no way I can cover
Yes.
them all in one episode. So I just chose 3 today and we will get into them. But first, we need to get into our facts. Now with this, it was a little difficult to find facts specific to the games because I didn't want to give away which games I was talking about quite yet. But what I did want to talk about is just kind of the psychology behind fear. Because in this instance, most of the people play these games to be scared, right? You're going into this knowing that you're going to be scared. So I found this.
Absolutely.
So I found this article from The Guardian, and I'm going to read a lot of sciencey stuff directly from the article. The amygdala, an almond-shaped bundle of neurons deep in the center of the brain, controls the fear response. In a fearful situation, the amygdala stimulates the hypothalamus, which activates 2 systems in the body, the sympathetic nervous system and the adrenal cortical system, causing a flash flood of hormones and triggering the fight or flight. So that's kind of just the psychology behind what your brain does when you're scared. And now I found some interesting personality types that tend to like being scared, right? So you have your people out there that really enjoy it. And there's
I
a
think
kind
that's us.
that is us. We fall into one of these categories. The
Awesome.
first the first category, not us, at least not me, is thrill seekers. So these are individuals that typically kind of don't have a ton of emotions that they feel on a daily basis, but when they encounter a scary situation, they feel arousal or other sensations that just, makes them feel something. So therefore, that's why they like to go after those types of fears. Then you have
Arousal is an interesting word.
I know, I thought so, but it was from the article, so I wanted to leave it in there. Then we have the over anxious. Some individuals experience constant anxiety.
Oh, that would be me.
Uh huh. That would also be me. So I was interested when I was reading this because it definitely explains, I think, why I like paranormal and like to be scared. But it said that engaging in activities that temporarily increase their anxiety, it can actually make them feel better once the anxiety has subsided, which I
That's
thought was
interesting.
interesting. Yeah, kind of makes sense.
Huh.
Gives you
I know
something.
that when because I get panic attacks that just seem to come out of nowhere. And when I learned to stop fighting the panic attack and lean into the panic attack, it definitely subsides a lot quicker. So I wonder if it's something somehow connected to that.
Yeah. I think it also just takes away the anxiety from everything else that you're fearing and
Right.
kind of puts it in
It,
something that you've associated with fun almost. Like, yes, you're scared and you're anxious when you're in scary situations, but it allows you to focus your anxiety on something else, I think.
yes, that's one reason that I love comedy is because I have anxiety and sometimes it's hard to get out of that, but when you're watching comedy and you're laughing, you can be nowhere else but in that moment where you're laughing, and
Exactly.
that fear probably works the exact
The
same
same
way. It's
way.
like, I'm not worried about that speech I have to give next week because I'm in a haunted house, like a Halloween haunted house, or,
Exactly.
and people are jumping out. Yeah, I can see how that would
Yeah.
work.
And all you're worried about is what corner is that person going to jump out of? And you're not thinking about any of your other life problems.
Right.
If you are an over anxious person like us, maybe next
Welcome.
time you're feeling really anxious, turn on that horror movie and then you'll be anxious about that and not your life.
That's a good plan.
Yeah. Then there's one other type that they said, and these were the competitors, the people that enjoy overcoming different challenges and pushing themselves. And once they've overcome that scary situation, they kind of feel that sense of accomplishment. So those were the 3 personality types according to science. And I'm sure there's more, but this was just one article I read that kind of explained why some people like to be scared because other people don't. Like, back to my friend Kristen, as much as I love her, I'm actually surprised she's listening to our podcast at all because she does not like scary things.
So I have a friend that's also listening, and she at first said she wouldn't listen to the stories because she cannot hear things like that. But she did say when she was listening to the first episode that we're presenting it in a way where we're laughing about it and having a
Yeah,
good time and sharing the history, and that makes it better for her.
that's
But I do have several friends that, like, I would love to go to a scary, scary, scary haunted house at Halloween, and it's hard for me to find friends that are like, "Yeah, sign me up."
same. Yeah, and that's actually one thing Kristen will do. She does love like the haunted houses, and we always try to find
'Cause
something every year. But
it's not real.
yeah,
It's not like a real,
yeah,
demon's gonna jump out.
exactly.
Yeah.
Another fact that I found really interesting, and this is a probably the most famous paranormal game that we are not going to cover in this episode because we will probably do an entire episode on this thing by itself, but that is the Ouija board. Charles Kennard in April of 1890 was the first to manufacture the Ouija board, along with Elijah Bond, who was the board's patentee, and Helen Peters, who was a medium. They conducted a seance in Bond's room within the Lanham Hotel. And they asked the board what it wanted to be called, and it spelled out the Mystifying Oracle. I didn't look into how they got from Mystifying Oracle to Ouija board, but we'll do that when we cover it. But why I brought this up is because this hotel, it was actually a boarding house at the time and still stands to this day, but it offers a stark contrast to its mystical past. It is now a 7-Eleven convenience store
Awesome.
located on 529 North Charles Street, Baltimore, Maryland.
I did know that, yes.
I did not know that, so I thought that was fascinating. And for those who have not listened to our other episodes, Kelly and I are both from the Baltimore area.
So we'll have to add that to, I know you didn't make it out for the cookout because you suck, but when you do come to Baltimore, we'll have to add that to our pub crawl and everything else.
I think
Go
I've been to
visit
the
the place.
7-Eleven. I actually think I have.
I may have and just not realize that was, well, I just recently found out that the
Yeah.
Ouija board was started there, so who knows?
Yeah. Done with our facts. Before we begin, I do want to share an important disclaimer. The games and rituals that we are going to discuss in this episode are steeped in legend and lore. And while they are very fascinating to hear about, attempting to play them can carry risk, both physical and psychological. We strongly advise that you play these games at your own risk and be aware of any potential consequences. Safety should always be your top priority, and we are not going to be held liable if you get possessed by a demon.
That's right, because if it's not our demon,
then it's not our problem.
Correct.
Perfect. So before we start, I like to write, and I wanted to write a very short story to just kind of set the mood of playing these games. So for me, when I played these types of games, I was a teenager at sleepovers. So that's kind of where I started the story. So sit back and just enjoy a little fictional story. It was a night like any other, but the air of excitement buzzed in the room. You and your best friend had the house to yourselves. Her parents were out of town, leaving you free to indulge in whatever sleepover activities you wanted. You gorge on snacks, watch horror movies, and finally, somewhere around midnight, your friend suggests to play a game. Bloody Mary. You nervously laugh. You're kidding, right? No, come on, it's just a game, she replied, already moving towards the bathroom. A part of you wanted to back out, but, peer pressure, it's a real thing. So you follow her to the darkened bathroom. Your friend slowly closes the door behind you. The room was pitch black, the only light coming from the gap between the floor and the door. Your friend lights a small candle and places it on the sink. The flickering flame cast an eerie shadow on the wall. She takes a deep breath and looks at you expectantly. Ready? You nod, your heart pounding in your chest. You stand in front of the mirror, your reflections barely visible in the dim light. Your friend starts to chant, her voice just a whisper. Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. You wait. Nothing happens. You let out a breath you hadn't realized you'd been holding. See, nothing to it, your friend says with a grin. Just as you are about to agree and reach for the door handle, the candle flickers violently, almost going out. A chill runs down your spine. The temperature in the room seems to drop. Do you feel that? Your voice trembling. Yeah, your friend replies, her grin fading. Maybe we should stop. But it was too late. The mirror began to cloud over as if someone were breathing on the other side. You watch in horror as its shape starts to form. A pale face with a dark, hollow eyes staring back at you. You turn to leave, but the door wouldn't budge. You pull and yank, but it was as if it had been sealed shut. The face in the mirror grew clearer, a twisted smile spreading across its lips. Don't look at it, you whisper as panic starts rising in your chest. Your friend is now crying, her eyes wide with terror. You glance around, searching for anything that could help. The candle's flames danced wildly, casting sinister shadows that seemed to move on their own. The air grew thick, making it harder to breathe. Suddenly, a cold hand grasps your shoulder. You scream and spin, but there's nothing there. The face in the mirror begins to laugh, a sound that echoes through the small bathroom, filling your head with an overwhelming sense of dread. Close your eyes, you tell your friend. We have to ignore it. You stand there, eyes shut tight, chanting together. It's not real. It's not real. It's not real. But the laughter grew louder, and the feeling of cold hands touching you became more and more insistent. Just when you think you can't take it anymore, the door bursts open and you tumble out into the hallway, gasping for air. The house is silent. The oppressive cold lifts almost instantly. You and your friend scramble to your feet and run to her room, slamming the door behind you. You both sit on her bed, too scared to speak. And what feels like hours, the first light of dawn begins to filter through the windows. You will never speak of this night again, but you both know you had an experience, something beyond explanation. The memory of that twisted face and its haunting laughter will stay with you forever. A chilling reminder of the night you dared to play Bloody Mary.
That was amazing.
Thank you.
Be a writer.
Thank you. So, our first game that we're going to go into is none other than Bloody Mary.
Have you ever played Bloody Mary?
I have. Never had anything happen.
Same. I had one of my daughters was afraid of it. And I said, come on, let's go. We're going to the bathroom right now. And she was like, no. I was like, trust me, it's going to be okay. So we went in and we did it. And she was like, okay, I feel better now.
Yeah, definitely played it several times as a kid. I think it's one of those games, especially with younger girls, where just I feel like everybody's played it at least once. But first, we're going to talk about the history of Bloody Mary and kind of its origins and where it came from. There's a lot of different theories and folklore surrounding the identity of the ghostly figure in the mirror. The first and probably the most famous is that she is Mary the First of England, also known as Mary Tudor. Mary Tudor was infamously dubbed Bloody Mary when she sat on the throne of England from 1553 to 1558. Her reign was steeped in terror as she unleashed a brutal campaign against the Protestants, sentencing over 300 souls to the executioner's blade. It's whispered that her vengeful spirit, restless and relentless, prowls the shadows, summoned by eerie rituals, forever hunting those who dare to invoke her wrath. So that's one theory. Another theory is Mary Worth. And the funny part about Mary Worth is no one's even really sure who she is. Her name is associated with Bloody Mary, but I found three, probably even a couple more, but these were the ones I have found the most common of who she actually was. Some people say that she was a woman that was condemned and executed for witchcraft during the Salem witch trials. Others speak of a more sinister figure who's saying she was a malevolent witch that lived in a secluded town and lured unsuspecting children to their doom. And then another haunting version portrays her as a merciless predator who preyed upon slaves seeking freedom through the Underground Railroad. Despite the varied and chilling accounts of her deeds, some people believe Mary Worth's spirit is the vengeful specter known as Bloody Mary, and is said to haunt the shadows, thirsting for retribution and striking fear into the hearts of those who dare to speak her name. Then the last, and there was a couple of other theories, but these were the three that were, I think, the most common. But the last one is that she is Elizabeth Bathory, and we're going to eventually have to do a whole episode on her because she's insane. But she is known as the Blood Countess. She was a Hungarian noblewoman, and she is known for being one of the most horrendous female serial killers in recorded history. Between the years of 1585 and 1609, it is said that she committed unspeakable acts, torturing and slaughtering hundreds of young girls to bathe in their blood, a grotesque ritual that she believed would grant her eternal youth. Could the Countess, even in death, be reaching out from beyond the grave, still thirsting for the blood of the innocent, so that she may bathe in their life essence and preserve her youth for eternity? So those are the
That's kind of
three.
messed up.
I know. She was a horrible woman. We definitely have to.
I have a question about the first theory.
Yeah.
When it said that Bloody Mary would like appear through like, rituals. So besides the mirror part of it, is there other things that like going in the bathroom, turning off the light and saying Bloody Mary 3 times? Are there other ways that you are supposed to be able to summon Bloody Mary?
Not that I am aware of.
Okay.
I think that that's the only way. Now, what happens when you summon her, that is kind of all over the place based on different stories and whatever you believe to be true. Then there's another theory. Again, I wanted to get back into like the psychological aspect of these games. Psychologically, the ritual may trigger perceptual ambiguity, in which the combination of the dim lighting and the heightened expectation causes the mind to interpret visual stimuli as ghostly images. This is also related to the Troxler effect, where gazing into a mirror in low light can actually make facial features appear to melt away, leading to some unsettling illusions. So that's
Yeah.
the psychology behind what could possibly be happening.
When you say face melting away, all I can think of is that scene in the movie Poltergeist when the one paranormal investigator gets up in the middle of the night and he goes to get a snack, and the snack all of a sudden like has all these like maggots on it, and he goes into the bathroom and looks up, and his like just flesh starts melting off of his face
Ew.
and peeling it off, and it's just his skeleton underneath. That's just what I thought of.
I hate every second of that. But anyway, these theories, ranging from some historical figures to just psychological phenomena. Every time I say that word,
Phenomena.
I just think phenomena.
Phenomena.
Each theory adds a layer of mystery and depth to the chilling game that continues to fascinate and terrify those who dare to play it. So, for each game that we're going to go over today, I'm going to give you a little bit of a history, then I'm going to tell you how to play, and then I'm going to give you some stories that I found online. Even though we are giving you instructions on how to play this game, please remember that you are playing at your own risk. Also, please be aware that the instructions vary, and I found several different sources that may have had different things that said different stuff, and I just picked the one that I saw the most. And sometimes in it, I might mention things that are like pretty common in both situations, where one story might say they do this and the other story says you do this. So I'll mention those. But
Okay.
before you get started to play Bloody Mary, you will need a dark room with a mirror, preferably a bathroom. I don't really think I've ever heard of anybody playing it in any other room but a bathroom.
Same.
A single candle or a flashlight. But honestly, if you have a flashlight, you're kind of lame. Get a candle.
Right. I mean, this is a ritual here.
This is a ritual. You are trying to summon Bloody Mary. Don't use a flashlight.
She might
Use
be
a
offended
candle.
that you brought that flashlight.
She might. And then you don't know. You don't want to offend Bloody Mary. Just saying. So this game you can play alone or with friends. I highly recommend playing with friends because no one wants to summon a possible murderous witch or queen if you are alone. Just my
Hey,
opinion.
Jen,
Yeah.
I got an idea.
We're not playing Bloody Mary when you come to my house.
Oh man, you suck.
I am down for playing, just not in my apartment.
Well, okay, well we'll play it. I don't know. We'd have to have a candle.
Yeah.
Do you have any friends that we could do it in their house?
Probably not.
Let's go to your parents' house and do it. They would be so upset.
Oh my
We
God.
couldn't do that.
No.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. So to start the game, you enter the room, preferably the bathroom, with, I'm just going to say candle. I'm going to leave out flashlight because don't be lame. You're going to enter the room with your candle. You're going to turn off all the lights, and the room should be pitch black. Light your candle, place it on the sink, or you can hold it. Basically, you just want your face to be illuminated in the mirror just enough to see your reflection. You stand in front of the mirror and you start chanting, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. Now, some sources I read said that you chant Bloody Mary 3 times. Others said that you chant it 13 times.
I've never heard 13.
I hadn't either until I started researching it. But actually, even one of the stories I say says it as well. So you are supposed to also speak in a very calm and steady voice. After you finish chanting, keep your eyes fixated on the mirror. The legend says that you should be able to see a ghostly figure of Bloody Mary start to appear in the mirror. Now, some variations say that Bloody Mary will actually appear behind you and you'll just see her standing behind you in the mirror. And then others say that she actually will replace your reflection. I don't know which one would be scarier. I think actually seeing her standing behind me would probably be scarier because that would make me feel like she's actually in the room with me.
Right.
But
I can
I,
see that.
I don't know. Either would be pretty terrifying. To end the ritual, break eye contact with the mirror, blow out the candle, or if you're lame, turn off your flashlight, and then quickly leave the room. So that's it. That's how you play Bloody Mary.
Okay, so is there any consequences outside of that, or is it just like she's going to show up behind you in the mirror, or does she then like haunt you forever?
That's all I didn't read anything about haunting forever. Even in the stories that I read, I didn't really
Hmm.
read anything of like residual. That's why overall I do think it's a pretty safe game just because it is supposed to just happen. But I'm sure someone out there will probably tell you that she'll haunt you forever or something. But I couldn't find anything on that.
It would be
So,
interesting to hear stories if anybody has any like that.
yes, absolutely. And because we are still so new and we do not have a fan base yet besides our family and friends. Hi, family and
We love
friends.
you.
Yes, thank you for listening. We don't have any stories to tell you from personal experiences. So I went to the only place that I could possibly think of to find amazing stories, and that is
Reddit?
Reddit. So all of my stories are from Reddit. I will give the username of the person who posted it, unless they were anonymous, which some of them are. Just know that that is where we got them from. So the first story I have for Bloody Mary was posted anonymously. They said,
Okay.
me and my brother were desperate to have any kind of paranormal encounter. We both figured Bloody Mary would be the easiest way to do it. So we went to the bathroom, locked it, and prepared ourselves for anything to happen. We said Bloody Mary 3 times and waited, hearing nothing and figuring we had to say it 13 times. That was where I first read. So apparently that wasn't just me. Someone else thought that too.
Can I just mention it's not me and my brother, it's my brother and I.
I am reading directly from
I
what
just want to
they
mention it
wrote.
for the listeners. I just want to mention it for the listeners that grammar is important.
Grammar is important. And I just want to know everyone else to know when I am reading listener stories or stories from Reddit, I am reading it verbatim. So do not come
Yes.
at me for poor grammar or anything else.
I'm just pointing it out.
Okay, thank you. Around the eighth or ninth time we said it, we were interrupted by the saddest, most desperate sobbing coming from a woman. The sound came from behind the shower curtain. It sounded like someone had just experienced a painful loss. We looked at each other, and he elbowed me to go check it out, to which I fearfully tore the shower curtain open, finding nothing. The sound had stopped when we got closer to the shower anyway, and I'd always figured one, we either had a close call, or two, my brother was just messing with me. However, I do wonder how he would have made such a sound without the help of smartphones and speakers we have today. So that tells me that this happened, before smartphones and speakers and things like that. So,
Right, and
person,
I would never use that bathroom again.
yeah, I probably wouldn't either.
Yeah.
Before staging it.
I definitely wouldn't get in that shower and close the shower curtain and just be stuck in there with some sobbing Bloody Mary. That's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I would sage the shit out of it and light some incense and put some protection crystals and all that to get rid of any bad energy, which I highly recommend doing anyway if you do any of these paranormal games. It's always great to, sage and get your crystals out and clear the energy, set good intentions and all of that if you're doing any of these.
I will take your word for it because I don't even understand half of the words you said.
Don't worry, I'll show you. The next one was posted by somebody named Punch Academy. And they said, yeah, I didn't really hear about Bloody Mary till I was in high school, which doesn't really make sense since I was into all sorts of paranormal things. I'm feeling like I just never paid much attention to it till a friend was telling me about it. I can't remember her story, but it did intrigue me enough to give it a try. When I got home, I went to the bathroom, said Bloody Mary twice, got major butterflies in my stomach. I kind of laughed off how nervous I was over something so stupid, and I went about my evening. After dinner, I went to take my shower. As a joke, I decided to look in the mirror and say it a third time. Then I hopped in the shower. After a bit, the lights went out, the shower curtain rod slammed to the floor. I freaked out and ran straight out of the apartment, through the front door, screaming, and my mom ran after me to drag me back inside. Now, I want to stop here because when I read this story, I imagine this person running out of their apartment naked because they did
Yes, that's
not
what
say that they grabbed a towel or anything.
well, I mean, if you think about it, if you're in the bathroom taking a shower and the lights go off and then the shower curtain slams to the ground, I'm not taking the time to grab a robe or a towel.
That's fair.
I'm just getting out of there.
That's
So
fair.
that makes sense.
But to run outside, like
Yeah,
I'd
that
get
might
out of
yeah.
I'd get out of the bathroom, but I don't know if I would run outside butt naked. So after the mom dragged him back in, they didn't want to tell her what happened. She takes stuff like this really seriously, not inviting dead spirits or anything because we'd both had experiences. So I knew she'd killed me. We went into the bathroom. The lights were on, but the shower curtain was still on the floor, and she assumed I broke the rod when I ran out of the bathroom. I don't think it was actually Bloody Mary, though. I feel like it was some sort of spirit taking advantage of my intent to make content. This was the first and last time I tried to do anything like that. Nothing extra happened other than just the usual stuff I deal with, which I would love to reach out to this person and find out what the usual stuff they deal with is.
Yes, like we need more. Give us more.
Give us more. If you are listening to us, Punch Academy, let us know. But I like how they said at the end that they didn't necessarily think it was Bloody Mary and that it was just some other spirit kind of taking advantage of the situation, because I think that's
Yeah.
a solid point when it comes to these types of
Yeah.
games.
That's why
So,
you have to be very careful
yeah,
because it can start out as a funny sleepover game, but you just don't know what you might be inviting into your life.
exactly. Which very famously happens with Ouija boards. Again, we'll do a whole episode on that. But anyway, there you have it for the eerie and captivating tale of Bloody Mary. Whether you view it as a fun and thrilling game or a truly spine chilling experience, the legend of Bloody Mary has left a mark on our collective imagination. As with many urban legends, it serves as a reminder of the fine line between reality and the supernatural. and the power of our own minds to conjure fear. So the next time you find yourself in a dark room with a mirror, remember the story of Bloody Mary and ask yourself, do you dare to call her name?
I mean, you'd have to have the candle with you.
True. Very true. I don't think I ever
Just
had a
keep a
candle.
candle in your just keep one in your bathroom at all times.
That's fair.
Just in case.
Yeah. I don't think I ever used a candle when I was a kid, which is probably why I never saw her.
You know, I've never used a candle either.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't use a flashlight because, again, I am not lame.
No, you're not lame. Okay. The next game that we are going to get into is the elevator game, which is a pretty fascinating one. And
so all I know about this game is what I saw on an episode of the show Evil.
Which is great, by the way.
Yes.
Great show. Please watch it. They're on their 4th and final season right now. Have you started watching the 4th season?
Yes.
Okay.
Episodes behind, but I've started.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's a great game. And in the show, they do play this game. So very interesting. So the elevator game is widely known as an urban legend that appears to have origins in Korea, as the earliest known instructions for the game were written in Korean. The game's rules gained widespread attention online following the tragic death of Elisa Lam in 2013. The discovery of Lam's body in a water tank above the Cecil Hotel in Los Angeles, coupled with unsettling video footage of her erratic behavior in an elevator shortly before her death, led to speculations that her demise may have been connected to her involvement in the elevator game. And I will say, after we go over how to play, I'm going to describe Elisa's story a little bit more in detail, because while I was searching Reddit for personal encounters of this game, every one I read was so far-fetched and so over the top that I could not even bring myself to read them on the podcast, because I was just like, there is no way this actually happened. And maybe it did, but no.
It's probably slim chance, but
Yeah.
There is also an aspect of sharing. Just like we like to be scared, there's also people that like to create and write the scary story.
Exactly.
For entertainment. And honestly, part of that is making the people presenting it as if it's a real experience, because that's what makes it scary.
And that's what I think was mostly happening in Reddit. And I didn't want to share any of that on here. So I'll go into Elisa Lam's story after I go over how to play the game.
Okay.
I got these directions from elevator.com. And again, same thing. There are some variations that will say slightly different things, but this is what I have. So the first requirement to play the elevator game is that you must play alone, and you must be in a building with at least 10 floors and an elevator that can reach all 10 floors. It does not matter what time of the day you play, as long as you are the only person in the elevator. You must start over if other people get in the elevator at any point, with one exception that I will cover in the rules.
I'm already out. Like, if I have to start over, if somebody else gets on the elevator, I'm out. Like, this, I ain't got time for this.
Don't got time for that. Where are you going to be able to do all of these rules I'm about to list out, and no one else is going to get in this elevator? Not many places.
Yeah.
But anyway, you board the elevator on the 1st floor, and you press the button to go to the 4th floor. When you get there, don't get off, stay in the elevator, and then press the button to the 2nd floor. Same thing. Don't get off, then you go to the 6th floor. At the 6th floor, stay in the elevator, and now you go down to the 2nd floor. When you reach the 2nd floor, again, stay in the elevator and press the button to go to the 10th floor. At this point, some people have claimed to have heard a voice calling out to them. And it is important not to acknowledge or answer this voice in any way. When the elevator reaches the 10th floor, again, stay on and now press the button to go to the 5th floor. Now, on the 5th floor, a woman may board the elevator. Some people say she is a stranger. Others claims that she bears some sort of resemblance to someone in their past. Either way, you do not acknowledge her in any way. Do not even look at her. This woman is not human. Some claim that if you acknowledge her, she will take you straight to another world with no chance of escape. And I do just want to point out what happens if you get to the 5th floor and a real person actually.
I was just gonna say, like some woman gets on the elevator and looks at you and goes, "Can you hit?"
And you just
And you can't
completely
acknowledge her.
ignore her. She's going to think you are the rudest person in the entire world.
Yes.
Yeah. And
But
now
don't take chances, people.
then you have to continue to do these things with this person now in the elevator who may or may not be human.
And they don't get off? They just stay in the elevator with you?
They stay in the elevator.
Okay. That would be weird.
Yeah. I'm out there. I don't want to ride the elevator with some other human person thing. So now you press the button, go to the 1st floor. If the elevator descends to the 1st floor, the ritual has failed. Get out, leave immediately, don't look back, don't speak, just exit the building and leave. However, if the elevator ascends, the ritual has succeeded and you will go to the 10th floor. This is your last chance to back out of the game. If you decide you don't want to continue, press the button for any floor besides the 1st or the 10th to cancel the game. But if you want to continue, once you reach the 10th floor, you have 2 options. You can leave the elevator or stay on board. If you choose to exit, the woman who entered on the 5th floor may ask you where you're going. Again, don't look at her, don't answer her, just leave the elevator. It is said at this point you will find yourself in another world, sometimes called the other world, where your electronics aren't going to work. Everything is dark except for a bright red cross that may be reflected in the windows. Do not lose sight of the elevator you arrived in, as it is the only way that you can go back. If you didn't leave the elevator, you can now press the button to go to the 1st floor, wait for the elevator to descend, get out as soon as it reaches the 1st floor, exit the building, return home without looking back or speaking at all. If you did leave the elevator, you must now get back into the elevator and repeat the ritual to end. So you have to go to floor 4, 2, 6, 2, 10, 5, and then back to floor 1. The elevator will begin to ascend to the 10th floor when you hit 1, and then you have to press the button for any other floor to stop it before you pass the 9th. Then it will descend to the 1st floor. When you reach the 1st floor, do not exit until you check your surroundings carefully. Even if the smallest detail seems off, you must stay in the elevator and repeat the ritual again until you are confident that you have safely returned to your own world. Once you are sure that you are safe, you may exit the elevator and return home without looking back at all.
So what happens if you look back and you can't talk? You just have to like walk home in silence?
Yep. Oh, I think you can't talk until you like leave the building would be my assumption.
Okay.
Or look back. So
just seems like it takes a lot of time. And what is the point if you go to another world and you see a big red cross and you have to stay near the elevator so you don't lose sight of it? What's the point?
Yeah, that was kind of my thought. I mean, I guess just to say you did it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And just a red cross. I mean, that's about as creepy as you could get, I suppose.
Yeah, dark.
I know some people would think, a cross would elicit like positive things.
The fact that it's red and like glowing in the windows, oh no, that's kind of scary. Seems a little demonic to me.
I wouldn't get off that elevator if the doors opened and I saw that.
I would be out the second the otherworldly woman entered the elevator on the 5th.
Yeah.
I'd be done.
I wonder what happens if you acknowledge her.
She takes you to another world and you can't.
Oh, okay. That's right.
Listen, Kelly, I said that.
Sorry. I have ADHD.
Same girl, same. So now again, I'm going to get into the story of Elisa Lam because, as I said, I scoured Reddit and could not find anything that didn't seem like fiction writing. And by the way, all of the stories that I read were fantastically written and very scary if they are true. But I just, again, didn't think they were. So here is something that actually happened. And whether or not it's associated with the elevator game, is to be seen. But Elisa
I
Lam,
do have a I do have a question real quick about the numbers of the floors.
yeah,
I'd like to look into that number sequence and see if there's any significance to it, in any particular religions or cultures. Because the floors that you hit on that elevator, it's a very specific order of numbers. So
yeah,
that would be an interesting thing to look into.
yeah, I agree. Well,
I'll do that in my
listeners
free time.
or listeners, if you know, please email us
Yes.
and let us know. So,
Email us at notmyghostpodcast@gmail.com.
yes, that is our email. Any stories that you have, or you just want to say hi, because we don't have any listeners right now. So we would love to hear from you.
Yes, we would.
So Elisa Lam was on a solo trip when she visited when she visited Los Angeles in 2013. She stayed in the Cecil Hotel in downtown LA. This was a 600-room building that was constructed in the 1920s and was once a very popular destination for the rich and famous. But more recently, more known for crime and murder, and even served as a temporary home for the serial killer Richard Ramirez.
Ah, now this was in LA? Because I think you said Las Vegas earlier.
Did I say Las
So
Vegas?
I think you did. So this is LA.
This is LA. It's Los Angeles.
Okay.
Yes. So I apologize. It
All
is
right.
in LA. And there is
No
a whole,
mistakes.
no mistakes. There is a whole documentary on Netflix about this if you're interested to go in and
I have
watch it.
seen some I've seen some paranormal teams investigate the Cecil Hotel.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be awesome. So during Lamb's stay, she suddenly disappeared, and investigators released eerie video footage from the hotel's elevator capturing Lamb's last known hours before vanishing. Now, all you have to do is Google Elisa Lam elevator video. Please go watch it. I watched it and typed out exactly what I saw happening, but my description is not going to do it justice. You have to watch it for yourself. So in the video, Lamb enters the elevator. She bends down slightly to look at the buttons, and then she pushes several of them. She stands up straight and she backs into the corner of the elevator, and she stands there for several seconds. Then she steps forward, one foot outside of the elevator, the other foot back staying in. She turns her head from side to side really quickly. At this point, she appears to be in a panic state. So she's like looking down the hallway really quick. She steps back into the elevator and puts her back against the side wall, like she's trying to hide from something. Then she actually steps forward and is in the corner of the front corner of the elevator, still like she's trying to hide from someone or something. She stands there for a few seconds before stepping back to the opening and peering back down the hallway. But this time, she's a little less frantic. So the first time, her head like turned back and forth really, really quickly. And this time, she's more casually looking down the hallway. Then she steps completely out of the elevator and she's kind of steps off to the left side, but you can still see her arm kind of just as she's standing there. She stands there for over 30 seconds. Then she enters the elevator, again, looking very distraught. She goes back to the buttons and she pushes all of the floor buttons several times. And when she's pushing, like, you can see she's pushing, she looks like she's even pushing like the emergency button down low. It's a grainy video, but it's very weird in how she's pushing all of the buttons. After that, she exits the elevator and she stands again slightly off to the left, but still on camera. Then she starts moving her arms in this like really unusual way, like she's trying to touch something that's not there, like feeling around
Is it the
almost like
woman?
I don't know. It's almost like she's pantomiming, like she's like trying to touch something and her arms move in like this really strange way. Then she finally leaves to the left and the elevator doors close. Now, the other thing I want to point out during this whole time, the elevator doors do not even attempt to close. For anybody who has ever been on an elevator, you know that when you're on it and if you're standing outside of it, it tries to close a lot. Constantly. Now, I get when she's moving in and out, there's the sensors, it's not going to close. But she was standing outside of the elevator for over 30 seconds. She was in the elevator for like 20 plus seconds, not moving. and the doors never attempted to close. So I thought that was really weird.
Yeah.
Several weeks after Lamb's disappearance, the hotel guest voiced concerns about low water pressure and discolored water. The tanks on the roof were inspected, leading to the discovery of Lamb's naked body floating in one of the water tanks, with her clothing found at the bottom of the tank. Investigators stated that there was no physical evidence indicating that a crime had taken place, and that her death was ultimately determined to be the result of an accidental drowning.
That's an interesting accident. Like, I've never, ever been anywhere and thought, I bet you there's water tanks up on the roof that I'm going to go take a swim in. And also, ew, are the people in the hotel drinking and showering in?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, and it took several weeks for them to find her
oh,
body.
oh, that makes me feel a little sick.
I know. But there you have it. That's the eerie and intriguing elevator game. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, the stories and experiences surrounding this game are undeniably chilling. If you dare to try it yourself, remember to proceed with caution and respect the unknown. And I had one more game that I was going to go over, but we are almost at an hour and I want to keep it short. So we will get to the next game that I researched in our next series of this episode.
Awesome.
Yes. So that brings us to the end of our episode about paranormal games. If you have ever played any of these games, or any paranormal games, or, just have any paranormal experiences in general that you want to share, please email them to us at notmyghostpodcast@gmail.com, and you might just hear your story featured on a future episode.
If you love what you have heard, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe to our podcast wherever you listen. Your support helps us reach more listeners and share even more spooky stories.
And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Not My Ghost Podcast and on Facebook at Not My Ghost, Not My Problem. We are going to post updates, photos from the episodes, and who knows what else, whatever we feel like.
If you want even more ghostly content, consider joining our Patreon. We have some fantastic exclusive perks for our supporters.
And we will start doing those perks as soon as we get supporters.
That's the very important part of the perks for the supporters.
Yes.
The supporters are they're the meat of this.
But eventually when we get ads in these episodes, you will get ad-free episodes if you join. You'll get bonus content. We'll do some behind the scenes stuff. You'll get an extra episode a month and possibly even some like live sessions with Kelly and I.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all kinds of fun stuff. So go join and then we'll start giving you all your exclusive perks. And thank you for joining us on this spine-chilling journey into the world of paranormal games. Remember, the next time you feel the urge to connect with the other side through one of these eerie games, keep this in mind.
If it's not your ghost,
it's not your problem.
Until next time, stay spooky
and stay skeptical.